Hi, everybody. It's Holly Burns of Holly Burns Psychic. Welcome to David Wilcock Series Part 3.2. This is a continuation of my Part 3 video, which got a little bit long, so I decided to make this a two-parter. So this one is going to be about the signs and symbols that I get all during my day from whoever wants to talk. I'll tell you who's speaking as we go through, but oh yeah, I keep them on my notes app on my phone, and it gets pretty full. But hey, this is a lot better than the olden days before I could do this on my phone and I used to have to keep a piece of paper and a pen in my back pocket and all day long stop and write stuff down. That really slowed me down. So I have been doing this. Yes, I have been doing this for a long time. It's 20 years now. 20 years I've been writing down signs that I get. For this video here, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff from David that I got directly from David, and also the aliens, and we'll see who else is popping in here. So let's get started on the signs and symbols for David Wilcock's whereabouts. And so let's look at the signs and symbols that I have for this time around. So the first thing that I want to talk about was I was thinking of David with the disclosure stuff coming out. I was just like, oh man, David would be so all over this. Where's our lives? Where's the insider information? You don't know what's going on this week. Oh, this is just so hard that he's not here. The elders came in and they wanted me to explain. They said, okay, you know what that means. I do. And they want me to tell you guys. When we feel that, that is a message to us from our higher self, and our own higher self tells us instantly how she or he feels about our thought we just thought. When we get a negative feeling about some thought we have, and it gives us that sword through our heart, that means that there's something that we don't know or that we're not thinking at that moment that would bring us into alignment. If we were aligned, we'd be happy. The sadder we are, the lower of a frequency we're on, the further we are away in frequency from how our higher self is seeing that moment. So our higher self saying, hey, I got some secrets. If you knew my secrets, you wouldn't feel sad right now. Do you want to know the future? I'll tell you, like in 2 years from now, you're going to be really glad that guy broke up with you because you're going to meet your dream guy and you guys are going to kick butt. And we'd be like, oh, thank you very much. And then we'd be able to go on with our day, right? This incarnation doesn't work that way. We have to reach for the higher frequencies ourselves. We have to gain our own alignment. So they're just trying to pull us to alignment. That's their job. My higher self will hint to me. She'll be like, oh, Holly, that's not in alignment. And I'll be like, okay, let me think of a good thing. So then I'll try to think of a good thought. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're telling me in this moment when I feel that heartache, maybe they are telling me this is going to be great and he's having a great time. So don't worry, it's all in the flow and it's all in destiny and it's going to be great. That would make me excited, right? I mean, I would still miss him in the moment, but I'd miss him a lot less if I know if they're like, okay, he's going to be here by October 15th, 2028. You don't have very long to go. You only got 15 months to go before he shows up again. We'd be like, yeah, that's what their job is. I wanted to start off with the sword through my heart thing about that so we can align what that really means. Hopefully that really means that we shouldn't be sad right now because there's nothing to really be sad about. So let's go with that for today and let's kick some butt on this. All right, let's get into our signs. The first one is something very weird is going on. And to me, it's pretty obvious. That was David's higher self speaking. He meant there's something we can obviously see that's weird. And to him, hint, hint, it's obvious. Like, David didn't die, people. That's obvious. Okay. Then I had a viewer mention to me that she thinks, and I had seen this. Okay. This is a correlation back to part one. The very first reading I did with David, when I said, hey, where are you? What's going on? He gave me signs about a planet with water cards. And I'm like, okay, you're on a water planet? Then he gave me beautiful flora and fauna too. And it showed me like the Teletubbies world where everything's lime green with bright flowers and stuff. So I'm like, okay, so it's like tropical, beautiful, but at the same time, water as well. So, well, what happened was one of my viewers was watching and she also said that she thinks that David has roots as a Palladian in his other incarnations that he's been a Palladian lots of times. She says if a human being has past incarnations of being on a water planet or being a Palladian and a lot of other lifetimes, you'll be able to see in their eyes, you'll see water. And I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, you can correct me in the comments. She showed me a picture of David's eye. I'll show it to you guys. So here's his eyes that she sent me. She knows how to look at eyes. I don't. She said that she can see the water, planet, history, signs of water in his eyes. Looks cool to me. They definitely look like water. And then another commenter also said they thought he was on the Pleiades. And the Pleiades is known as the water planets. That's a really cool correlation there. Could be something, might be something different. The elders said, well, you also got a little bit of a whump when you guys put that all together. I mean, I did get a whump. If I was going to guess, what jumped out to me was the Pleiades. What happens when I read those is I'm reading the energy of it at the same time. I'm not just reading words. So when I get the energy that feels very synergistic and very unified and in unison frequency wise, that to me means that's the truth. If it feels vibrationally dissonant, it means that that's a different dimension's truth. Then David was saying, I wish there was other people out there doing this. It seems like I'm the only one. We got to keep on track on this, people. I need other people out there doing this for me. That was a message from David that we have to keep doing his work. I believe I got that from David's live. So those three different phrases jumped out to me as one statement. Arrived here yesterday. He arrived to the other planet. That means he's somewhere. He just said, that's code for I'm somewhere. I'm not dead. I'm somewhere physical. That was the point of that sign, if you didn't catch that. Okay. Then I wrote down 5 years from now when he comes back. And I'm like, whoa! I think at least 2 times now. So him coming back in 5 years. I don't know for sure what that sign means yet. Hindsight's 20/20 on these signs. But we can put them together and build a lot of information from them. And the number 333 came up again. A client I was doing a reading for. That was really cool because that's a big number that we had in part 2. There was a sign, or the end of part 1. There was a sign from David, the 333, having to do with the Christ consciousness and David. So that was really interesting and cool. And she was talking about that she got 333 as well. And she was a devout follower of David as well. We're all getting a lot of the same correlation, all telling us the same thing, hey, this is a thing. This is not nothing. This didn't just go away. It's not something to forget about. Keep this alive. Keep this going. Let's create that reality together. This is a blip from the future. So I'm remote viewing the future. So this is what they said. Our guest today is David. So great to see you. You come from a long ways away, David. Can you tell us where you live? Can you tell us? Wow, that was cool. So obviously you come from a long ways away. Bang, bang, bang. So that's when he's back and he's being interviewed on some sort of show. Hey, our guest today is David Wilcock and he's back from the other planet. How was it there? That was a long ways away, David. Like that. And then I got the words alien race. Hey. So aliens were involved. Aliens were involved. Thank you for not giving up on us. That was the aliens talking, saying, thank you for not giving up on the idea that we came and took David away and helped him. And you didn't buy into just giving up and going, oh, David's gone. David's dead. That's it. So they were thanking us for pushing hard, pushing all the way through and getting that narrative really nailed down and then going with it. It could also be in the future, they just said. They just kind of double whammied it for me and gave it to me again in the future. And they said, thank you for not giving up on us. So the aliens are saying thank you for believing we are a thing. And then when they come back and show us in the physical and they say, yeah, we were the ones involved, or thank you for believing in us. They're going to say that to us in the future. They're going to say, thank you for believing in us. Hey, works for me. You will be able to travel the whole universe. This is David telling us in the future when he comes back. You will be able to travel the whole universe. Awesome. Next so the other aliens said they would protect him from the Dracos continually abusing him. He would be free of that. Once again, another correlation of what I thought I had been being told for the last 2 weeks. Then David's talking about how they could put him back in time. Here's a little blip from another time David was talking. These are interviews I was hearing of David on YouTube, little blips from things where David was actually saying this himself. And when he said it, it totally jumped out to me that this is what's happening to him now. So it was like eerily prophetic. David himself talking about how they could put him back in time. So David is saying his own future as well. He was saying they could put him back in time. Then this jumped out. This is all a load of shit, which meant the narratives that are saying that he was mentally ill and that he shot himself are a load of shit. This could explain everything. Could explain all the past experiences that were unexplained. So what they're saying is, when David comes back, everything will make sense. Everything will be explained about all the experience in the past that went unexplained, that didn't seem to make sense. This narrative of David going to the other planet, learning his stuff, and then coming back explains it all, makes it all fit. And then they said, most completely miss. What that means is most people are completely missing the proper download, the proper translation of what's actually happening here. Hey, I didn't say it. They did. My guide said that. The all-knowing elder said most completely miss. Most people that go on and say, David killed himself are completely missing, according to them. Now, that would be in this dimension. In my dimension I'm in right now, they're completely missing. I don't know what's going on with all the dimensions and what they're reading and what they're getting it from, but it's not a match for this timeline that I'm on. I know that. And they said, this is the part of the story where most people stop. Most people are going to jump off now and go, David Wilcock's dead. Well, that's that. Then the elder said, you have to use your imagination a little bit. We do. I mean, we have to be open to the ideas that might not be everyday ideas. Something that takes a little imagination to come up with. And then they said, are they just going with what the police say? Like, what? They're really going to just listen to what the police say? And just go with it? Like, are they really going with what the police say? Like that. Yeah, we know not to, don't we? And they said, we're going to keep our minds open. You guys should too. You guys shouldn't be just going with what the police say. Agreed. And then the elder said, this particular timeline we're on leads to your defeat. That means the ones that are trying to pull everybody down, the ones that David was speaking out against, this timeline leads to their defeat. Yes, let's do it. And then David said, I'll explain it as we go. So he meant to me, keep writing down my signs. I'm going to explain stuff as we go along now. I'm game. And then he said, it's very real. Can't you just hear his voice saying that? I got that off something he said on an interview or one of his lives. It's very real. And when he said it, it was just like, whoa, it's very real. Then they said, it gets even crazier. Hold on. Really? Okay. Like, what could be any crazier? But hey, I guess something even crazier is coming. All right. Okay. He knows the contract with these benevolent beings. That and what I just told you is why. So David is aware of the soul contract with these benevolent aliens that are helping him out. And what I just told you is why. What they're saying is that he's supposed to go there, learn his stuff, come back, and disclose to us, along with his alien children and wife. That's what he just told you. He just vibrated me when I said that. He said, I understand the contract. Yeah. Then it said, he's working on big things. That's the end. That was about the eclipse and the Sphinx messages. We got that big eclipse coming up in August of 2027. And that's what they're referring to, because that eclipse is going to be the longest totality right over the pyramids and this Great Sphinx. They're saying that's the end. I feel like that's a little too soon. It's the end of something. It could be the end of the tyranny of the lower vibrating beings, and then that might take a couple years to filter out until it's safe for David to come back again. But they're marking that day. Now, eclipses, they change energy. They shift energy around. So it can be the end of something old and it can be the start of something new. And the something new might have to be reality for a little while before we actually see the results of that. So just know that. That doesn't mean like, ooh, on the day of the eclipse, maybe they're going to come back. Although they could. I also wouldn't doubt if during that eclipse is when the aliens decide to disclose themselves to us and we suddenly look up in the sky and see all these ships in the sky. I mean, something like that could be pretty cool. That's also could be a match to my vision that I have a video of on my YouTube channel that I got in 2007, where I had to do a video on that. Oh, I forgot to do that. I got to get a video done on that, where I was walking down the middle of the street. This happened in a meditation meditation. I knew the time was about 10:30, and the sky was dark. And I'm like, why is the sky dark at 10 o'clock in the morning? Because that's what I was thinking. It's 10 a.m. Why is the sky dark? This happened to me in 2007 when I had that vision. Well, come to find out, the totality of the eclipse in 2027 happens over the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid. So it's like, okay, wait a minute. That's definitely the eclipse that I was experiencing. That's pretty big, very big. And they just said, keep going. I'm excited, super excited. Keep going with this. So stay tuned. Awesome. We will too. Then I have signs about that Jesus and Mary might have asked him to take this assignment, which I've already mentioned before, but I have that written down again. So I got that again. Then it says, I've never seen a place that looks this nice and smells this clean. This was David speaking. He's talking about the other planet that he's on. Really cool. And then he says, into the future. So that's where he's going to go. He's going to go off into the future and live his life. And then he'll come back and say, yeah, I was gone for 20 years. And be like, everybody like, no, you were gone for 5 years. What are you talking about? Well, I was gone for 20. No, you weren't. You were gone for 5. Then I got, give it a year. Now we're fully committed. What that meant was they're asking us to give it a year. They're like, stick with this narrative. Keep going with it. Give it time to sink in. Give it time to get more information about it. So give it a full year before you just go, oh, no, that's a crock of crap. Then they're saying, now we're fully committed. So they're saying, if you give this a year to sink in and settle in, after a year from now, you'll be fully committed to it. All right, oh, well, let's see, a year from now would be before the eclipse. So we'll see. Or they could just mean all of year 2026 and all of year 2027. Could mean that. After 20 years of reading these, you guys, I'll tell you, translating them can be multi-layered. It just keeps going and going, right? You get constant information coming in all the time. And I love translating them. But it is definitely tricky. That's why I'm telling you this stuff. Disclose the facts. The elders are telling human beings, disclose the facts. Like, just fess up and come out in the open with it. And they're saying, you have to integrate the timelines. What that means is you have to integrate the timeline that David was on, off on the other planet, and then when he comes back again, you'll have to integrate the timelines. Works for me. If he wasn't going somewhere cool and coming back, we wouldn't be integrating timelines now, would we? Her frequency was high enough to receive the signal without fear or ego. David is saying, my frequency was high enough to receive the information telepathically from his higher self without fear or ego. David is giving his approval of what I received because he's saying it's without fear, without ego. Okay, then he said, I'm currently in a state of frequency restoration. Then he said, I'm resting now so I can return when the 3i Atlas vessel officially docks. I'm like, okay, when is that? When's that going to be? That felt like David was talking about when he's going to be back. When 3i Atlas vessel officially docks. I'm trying to find out information about that. So how many of you guys have that specific information? I don't know. Obviously, mainstream people are going to say, what? What are you talking about? I don't know when it's, but I think it was something like 2029 or 2030. It was predicted to dock. That jumped out. Like when I heard that one, I was like, what? That's when he's coming back. But I don't know. But that's what I thought. Okay, we'll keep going. This was really cool. Elders are saying, look past the 3D blood and the 3D body. That's right. Then they said, purposely did it in front of 3D officers. Yeah, that's what I said on the first video, that it was orchestrated like that way so that people would know for sure something happened to David. He didn't just walk off a plank. He didn't walk himself into the lake and drown himself. It's like, it's a definitive experience. And Carrie Cassidy was also confirming that, saying, that's a common MO, is that they'll call the cops so that they have witnesses to the faked event. Then this one, the extraction was a promotion. So what they're saying is David leaving this dimension, taking him out of his incarnation in Earth, dropping him down into a new life on the new planet, not really physically extracting his soul out of his body, but just extracting him from this timeline, him extracting himself. He just said, yeah, I extracted myself from this timeline. Was a promotion. This is the game, you guys. This is what we need to see. Most people are going to go with the 3D blood and the 3D body and go, oh, poor David. Oh, he was just not in good health. He was in a poor position. He was in a weak, vulnerable state, and he died. They're saying it was a promotion. And I said this in part 3.1. They said they chose him because he had unbelievable abilities and they knew he could handle the work. So he was a chosen soul. It was an honor to be chosen to do what he's doing. That's the aligned perspective. Does that feel aligned to you? I know all you guys are going to go, yes, 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 yes. That's aligned. But see, that's the thing about consciousness here. Okay, this is the test. You have to be on the frequency of that idea and give it a chance in order to even think it's a thing. If you're not up there on that frequency, that's not going to be a choice you're even going to choose from. Your choices are going to be, well, did he shoot himself? Or they're not going to think of the whole story. And so it's not going to make sense to them. So they're just going to be like, well, he's dead no matter what, or he's not here anymore. No, he just said to me, out of sight, out of mind, but he's not going to be out of mind to us. He's describing the planet. David says, it's 2.5 times larger than our sun, and it burns 32 times brighter, and it has a slight blue twinge. I mean, I don't know if that's probably not literal, but it could be a match for something to do with his planet. So we'll have to keep our eyes and ears open for that. That's all I know. But it was talking about the planet where he is. And then he was talking about the music there. He said the music there is magnificent. And he's really enjoying that part of being there. I can't even imagine. And he said, and this is cool. David in the future, he's saying, I knew I would be coming back. So he's telling us, like, when he gets off the ship and comes back, he's going to say, I knew I would be coming back someday. Cool. When I just said that, he vibrated that along with me. And then I got 10 o'clock tomorrow. And I was like, ooh, shiver up my spine. So that meant that he was told the night before, it's going to go down at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And it did, right? 10:44 a.m. So that was a confirmation that from what I had read earlier that said, that he was told by the aliens it was going to happen at a very specific moment. And this is saying tomorrow. So basically, what I'm going with from that is confirmation that he didn't find out about this till the night before that it happened. He didn't have any time to plan. It was like, come, let's go. We got to get you out of here to keep you safe. No time to be hanging around. Another commenter said that he thought he was in another dimension of like Hawaii. Like he was in a future version of Hawaii, which he definitely could be because Bashar says his planet is a future version of Earth, but it's in another dimension in the Orion constellation. And then I got a smart city and that he was in a smart city. He used to talk about vacationing on the Hawaii planet. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? David used to talk about vacationing on the Hawaii planet. Well, remember, time is all happening at one time. When we do stuff like that, sometimes we are experiencing it in another dimension at that same time as we're having the memory of it or the thought, the daydream of it. But actually, if you're doing it in another dimension, it can leak over into this version of you and you can kind of seem like it's a hazy memory of something. When he said he used to talk about vacationing on a Hawaii planet, I went, that is definitely a precursor to where he is now. Absolutely is. Absolutely 100%. Once again, his soul had memory of what was to come because he was told about it before he incarnated. So he has underlying subconscious premonition because he's been told what's coming in his life. So it's under the surface in his subconscious. Yeah. Also, I just downloaded, they also said, or he could be visiting that planet astrally when he sleeps at night. He could go there almost every night. And then when he goes there in person, he could be like, oh my God, this is so familiar. I've been here before. And they're like, yeah, you come here all the time in astral traveling. Their technology is millions of years ahead of ours. So that's David explaining that place. He's giving us little blips of what he's doing there on the other planet. That's cool. And he accepted an offer to work on a PhD. I'm like, oh, it's so cool. Remember when he said on reading 1, he goes, they have levitation. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then he was talking about that they were asking him what he wanted to work on and what he wanted to do with his time there. And he could pick. And he doesn't have to have a job, but it's just like, what do you want to pick for your passion? What things do you want to follow? What do you want to do? And he had said that he was excited to be working on levitation technology and maybe he could do that there, right? So what that means is work on getting his really high level of learning, I believe, in the area of levitational science, in my opinion, I think. It could also be healing science as well. He said the biggest challenge is now that it's hot in here. So he has to get used to the warmer weather there. And he said, and we 3 flew there. So that meant that it was 3 of him that went to the other planet. So him and two aliens. When they get there, they have an agenda. So that meant that David has an agenda. When he's got a plan, a game plan, things he's got to do, things he has to get done. The elders said, if you really get deeper into what we know to be true, not to be dismissed. So they keep saying, don't blow this off, guys. Don't just look at this and go, oh yeah, that's a thing. He killed himself. They're like, it's not to be dismissed. You need to look into this deeper, people. Keep going. Keep looking for it, which is what they told me, which is why I found the narrative of him going there for purposes of coming back for the largest disclosure story we've ever had on Earth. That's what's not to be dismissed, which most people are dismissing. And then he said, the most beautiful planet I've ever encountered. And Jay was laughing now. He's like, haha, as if I've encountered lots of planets. Right, but that's what you said. And then he said, this was really great correlation. He's time traveling back. Yes, that's exactly what I got. And then it said, it cannot be mistaken for imagination. A lot of commenters are saying, I'm just imagining things, making stuff up, making my own narrative up, not really talking to David's higher self and my spirit guides, the elders, and the aliens. So they're saying it cannot be mistaken for imagination. Like, no, you're not mistaking. This is not your imagination, Holly. I know, and they know too. Hopefully those help you guys get some more clues, some more alignment. Hopefully you'll give me some more of your own narratives and layers that you're going to get from these signs, because they're multi-layered. You might get more things as well. And we'll keep trucking on. You guys have been really helpful so far. Let's keep going, and we'll see what we get for next time. Thanks so much for watching. You can get a hold of me through my website, hollyburnpsychic.com. I'm available there. Thank you very much.